So he decided to go to the Belzer Rebbe, Reb Aaron Rokeach, the previous Belzer Rebbe known as Reb Arla, or the Maharash. When I heard that my father was going to the Belzer Rebbe, I immediately asked my father to go along with him. My father asked me, why would I want to come along to the Rebbe? And I explained, if you're going to ask the Rebbe about your huge business problem, if you trust him for that, then why don't you at least ask him about the fact that you want to cut your daughter out of your life? My father replied that there's no reason to ask the Rebbe about this issue, since it's obvious that the Rebbe was surely of the opinion that there's no place for such behavior in a frum Yiddish home. My father agreed to take me, certain that the Rebbe would agree with him. So we traveled to the Rebbe together. First, my father discussed his troubles with the competitor, and he told him the whole story of the impending court case and the fear and the anxiety of losing all his money and being thrown in jail. The Rebbe closed his eyes and put his head down for a few moments. And then he advised my father what to do. He advised my father to offer the troublemaker a shutfis, a partnership, in exchange for dropping all the charges, and they'll be 50-50. My father was shocked at the idea of partnering with this guy who was his enemy. And she says, my father received many more contracts of people who didn't want to do business with a Jew, but now they saw the Polish name on the stationery as a partner, so they got a lot more business from people who discriminated against the Yidden, and they ended up getting a lot more contracts. My father did the work much better, and half of the profits that my father got was a lot more than he even made in the past. So this was great advice from Reb Arla, the Belzer Rebbe. Then my father told the Rebbe the story about me, his daughter who slipped away from Yiddishkeit, went off the derech, secretly married an irreligious boy, God forbid, and how he wanted to throw me out of his life. Belz in general is very insular, and the idea that someone would do such a thing in Belz is outrageous, especially in those days. It was obvious to my father that the Rebbe would tell him to throw me out and cut me off. Once again, the Heilige Rebbe, Reb Arla of Belz, closed his eyes and lowered his head deep in thought. But this time, it was for about 10 minutes. Now he put his head down, closed his eyes, lowered his head deep in thought for about 10 minutes, until finally he raised his head and asked my father, she had a chuppah kedushin according to halacha? She got married according to the Jewish way? My father said yes. And in that case, you should take her and him into your house and support them just like you support all your other sons-in-law. The same naden, the same support. All those Talmidei Chachamim, the Koilin Galite, take him and treat him exactly the same way and treat him like family. The opposite of what my father expected to hear. And this was in the 1920s, not the 2020s. And the Belzer Rebbe was a tzaddik with incredible foresight, and he saved my life, she said. My father, Reb Belzer, was shocked. He barely managed to stutter his objection. He said, but I don't want him to be in my family. He's so far removed from everything that we know. He's removed from Yiddishkeit. Yiddish, he told the Rebbe. She doesn't even speak Yiddish, which means that he's so far from the way. What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to embrace him? The Rebbe repeated himself. Take him in, be nice to him, draw him close to you, treat him like all your other sons-in-law, support him, and treat him like your own family. My father was totally shocked, but as a good chassid, he followed exactly what his Rebbe instructed him. He invited this young man, who he never met, into his house, his son-in-law. It was hard for him, but he did it, and he supported us and treated us like all of his other children. I had my family back, due to the advice of the Belzer Rebbe, Reb Aaron.